Hi, I thought it would be useful as part of um, the channel, kind of telling you all about Oklahoma and real estate to kind of cover some of our turnpikes. Obviously, if you're not aware of Oklahoma, we actually have more miles of turnpike per capita than any other state in the nation. Much like Dallas, there are some outer loops, and you just got to kind of know if you're about to jump on a turnpike. Also, kind of shows you where most of our populace is in the state and where these turnpikes have been built. So I'll start out with the turnpikes that are there today and that you can access, and then the ones that are coming. So we got some proposed ones. I'm actually going to jump over to Access Oklahoma, which is the Turnpikes site where they've announced, obviously where they have their turnpikes and what they have planned coming up. So let me share this screen real fast. And then over here, so obviously the state of Oklahoma, and you can see all this in black is the existing turnpikes that we have in the state today. So kind of starting down towards the south part of the state, we have H.E. Bailey Turnpike is this one here and this one here. This runs up from Wichita Falls into the south sides of Lawton. And then when you get to the north side of Lawton, it takes you up through Chickasha, which is right in here, all the way up to South Oklahoma City, that we typically call the Tri-City area. So that's Oklahoma City, Newcastle, Tuttle area. Then this little hook we've got here is the H.E. Bailey Spur, which will take you over to Norman, and also I-35 access, which then gets you down into Dallas. Some of the newer ones that we've done have been the Kilpatrick Turnpike, which is this outer loop on the west side of Oklahoma City. This is going to be Piedmont, Yukon, Mustang, and then, of course, Tuttle areas in here. And then, of course, South Oklahoma City. One of the ones just over the past couple of years has been the Kickapoo Turnpike. So that runs from this turnpike, which is the Turner Turnpike, which goes from Oklahoma City to Tulsa, and then drops down to I-40. There's some proposed new routes kind of all down in this area. We'll kind of get to those here in a second. This is the Chickasha Turnpike down in Sulphur, down by Sulphur, actually. It kind of connects Sulphur and Ada. Indian Nations goes from I-40 all the way down to almost the Texas line. This here is the Muskogee Turnpike, obviously, because it goes through Muskogee, connects Broken Arrow to Muskogee, and then down to I-40. This is the Creek Nation Turnpike, which gives you kind of an outer loop around Tulsa. The Gilcrease Turnpike, and the Cimarron Turnpike, which gets you access from Stillwater, Enid, all the way into Tulsa and vice versa. Up here, we've got the Cherokee Turnpike, which is in the northern part of the Cherokee Nation. And then you've got the Will Rogers Turnpike, which takes you all the way out to Missouri. So each one of these yellow dots are on and off ramps that are on each of these turnpikes. So if you're either planning a trip or if you're kind of looking for the next house to purchase here in Oklahoma, you can kind of see how close it is if it's in these areas to be able to get there. And that's kind of the other joke. You can get pretty well anywhere you want to be in Oklahoma City or Tulsa within 20 minutes because of the turnpikes. So it makes for fast, rapid transit when you're trying to get from one side of the city to the other. And if we jump over to the legend, I can then pop in the projects. So everything that you're seeing in blue here is the new either improvements to existing turnpikes, like the Turner Turnpike is going to be expanded. So right now, when you get up here around the Sapulpa area, all that's already been expanded to 6 lanes, whereas everything coming out of Oklahoma City is 4. So they're actually going to expand all of this to a 6-lane turnpike all the way up to Tulsa. They're doing some interchange work on some of these access points on that turnpike. They are extending the Gilcrease Turnpike to the northwest side of Tulsa, as well as doing some improvements to the Will Rogers Turnpike that runs north out of Tulsa towards Missouri. So same thing on the Kilpatrick. They're going to redo some interchanges, kind of improve some of the access points that's on that road. And then when we get down to here, this is going to be one of 3 new turnpikes. So these 3 here that don't have any yellow circles on them, these are all new. So the first one, which connects into the south end of the Kickapoo, the Kilpatrick Turnpike, which the turnpike itself runs this way. Pardon my tracing, I'm not real good with a mouse. So all this is Turnpike that kind of runs into the northern part of Mustang. You've got Yukon is up in this direction. And then, of course, Tuttle is across the river down this way. So what we've kind of been running into is you're seeing a lot of traffic that builds up, especially in the afternoons on I-44 as it's coming out of Oklahoma City and heads south into the Mustang, or excuse me, the Tuttle, Newcastle, Blanchard areas. So this whole new piece here is going to be the one of the new proposed turnpike routes. So this is a road that does not exist today. So this will actually connect Airport Road, which is what Highway 152 has been called and still is called, which runs just north of the airport, loops down here. You can go into Mustang itself, or you can continue on to the Kilpatrick Turnpike, which will then loop you up to the north side of the city. So this will alleviate some of this traffic flow coming this way, helps you pop into I-44, which you can then continue on south down into Blanchard, Tuttle, Newcastle areas. Now down here is going to be the major part of the construction. So what we've got now is kind of this bottleneck area. This is where a lot of the traffic is backing up. As all the commuters are coming out of these, bedroom communities. So all the way out from Minco, Pocasset, Amber, Blanchard, Goldsby, all of this is becoming fairly populated. So a lot of the growth and new home building is starting to happen down here. So we're starting to see a lot more people that are needing to get out of this part of the state. So this will actually connect Highway 37, which has been a dead end for a very long time. And I'll pull up Google Maps. You can kind of see 37. Let me flip to the map layer view. So when we get into Highway 37, coming out right now, it stops right here at I-44. So this is kind of a dead end. So you've got Tuttle over in this direction, Newcastle, and then of course this here is Southside Oklahoma City. So the plan is to connect. This is Indian Hills Road on this side over by I-35. Is to actually connect this piece with a new spur, which will be an extension of the Kickapoo Turnpike, which is up here. So the Kickapoo currently runs right now from the Turner Turnpike at about Luther, and then runs south down to I-40. I-40, this is Fort Smith, is out that way. And then, of course, Amarillo, Texas is back the other direction this way. So this whole piece, again, is seeing a ton of growth, new home builds. A lot of people are kind of moving out in this area. So this new spur, which will connect the Kickapoo Turnpike all the way down on the west sides of Lake Thunderbird, which is right here, down to Washington. So you'll be able to, jump off here of I-35, be able to scoot over and access the eastern sides of Oklahoma City without having to go through Norman, Moore, and get into the crossroads area where we've got I-35 and 240 crossing, which again can be pretty congested as the majority of the traffic, in the mornings and evenings, pretty much stop and go all the way through here and all the way down I-35, where we have a big concentration of traffic. And then of course, oops, hit the wrong button. And then of course up here on the north side, we see kind of the same flows going into Edmond, where I-35 itself gets kind of packed. So we're starting to see a little more traffic being diverted, if you will, to some of the surface streets and these other turnpikes we have. So we're always trying to stay ahead and catch up to what's going on with the traffic flows in Oklahoma City. But This area out in here is kind of an interesting one, as it's not densely populated at this point, but it's becoming so as more people are beginning to move out of Norman, wanting to build their house, wanting to build in places where they can find acreage, especially when you get out towards, Bethel, Shawnee, Tecumseh area, Pink. All of these areas in here are beginning to see, a decent amount of concentration of homes being built. In fact, the north side of Shawnee above I-40 is where the majority of the new homes are being built by some of our new home builders here in Oklahoma. But the biggest thing is everything here, all this is going to be toll road or turnpike. And when we get into actually overlaying everything, then you can kind of see what the grand plan is for all of the turnpike access in Oklahoma. So as we begin to make further improvements to it, as we kind of dive in, this one I thought was kind of interesting. We've got, let's see, I'll find it here, this exit. So if you look at this exit just east of Amber, which is out on Highway 81 north of Chickasha. Chickasha is back here. And then Highway 81 runs north. You'll have El Reno, Yukon, and the western sides of Mustang at the top of that path. There's a on and off ramp. So they're actually building multiple directional exits and entrances to the turnpike. So the thing that I think is kind of head scratching now, if you weren't kind of involved in the real estate business to understand kind of where everybody's moving, they literally are building this out in the middle of nowhere. As you can kind of see from these from this aerial shot, there's really nothing out here. It's a lot of farmland. It's a lot of empty fields. There's a few oil, getting the right thing here. There's a few oil leases that are out in this way, which is a lot of what this stuff is. That tells me that the census is showing that a lot of these people are going to start moving out in this direction. So there's actually going to be an on and off ramp just east of Amber out here in the country off of H.E. Bailey Turnpike. So the things that we're trying to build, if you will, from a turnpike standpoint is only to make the access better so we can get people in and out quicker to where everybody's living. I know there's been a lot of disdain over this loop right here, as well as this extension of Highway 37 going down Indian Hills Road. As there was when the Kilpatrick Spur was built, there were houses when the Turner Turnpike was built. Unfortunately, sometimes you're in the way, and I quite possibly myself, I'm out here in the country, I could be in the way of this second spur, depending on what happens. I'm kind of in this area down here, so if they decide to go straight across to Chickasha, I may have to move, but that's what happens. So, as you're kind of looking at Oklahoma, I mean, obviously we've got a great highway system. I know we use them a lot to get back and forth to Oklahoma City and Tulsa. I've used them all over the state as I'm driving around all over the place, showing houses, showing property. They certainly do help, and they certainly do cut down on time. But obviously, that's something that you want to kind of keep in mind. So for that, I mean, that's kind of the turnpike system in Oklahoma. If we take all the filters off here and remove everything, then you can kind of see our overall highway superstructure, if you will, where we've got the beginnings of loops that are being built around Oklahoma City, and conversely the same thing up in Tulsa. We've got all the outer loops, and of course the through loops going through town. So you can kind of see where we're planning on growth and where growth is beginning to happen. And then of course improvements on these structures is always another thing. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, obviously you can scan the QR code above would be happy to set up a call and have a chat with you. By all means, comment and I'll respond to it. Or you can also find all my details at my site, which is realtywithmarkpregler.com. You can send me a message directly from there. I've got all my contact information on that, as well as I've got a plug into the Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Lawton MLSs. So any houses that are listed on the MLSs there, you can access directly through here. And I'm licensed in and for the state of Oklahoma. So any house you find anywhere in the state, I can certainly help you out with it. Or if you want to look anywhere in the state, I'm not just stuck in one spot. So till next time, appreciate it. And I'll look forward to any questions you guys have.